Hello guys, welcome to a brand new season of this F1 career mode. We're here for the 2020 season and boy am I excited for this season. It's going to be insane. Like there's so much work gone into this in terms of making obviously the whole season, the career mode and the editing as well. You guys are going to notice some substantial editing adjustments for this series and I'm so excited. There's so much going on and stuff like that. Now obviously with all this work there's never ever a point where things work properly. Now, what I'm referring to is, on screen now you can see there's a screenshot of what happened during the Australian Grand Prix. And the whole race did everything. Pretty bad race on my part. And none of it recorded. It completely just scrapped it. I was like, you know what? Sweet. Fine. Everything's dandy. Upgraded everything. No worries. We'll start from Bahrain. Like I said in the pre-season video. So I get to Bahrain. Do that race. Again, awful race. This happened. But you know, it is what it is. And then I go to check the recording and it just didn't record. So I lost Australia and Bahrain. So what we're going to do is we're going to completely ignore those first two rounds, which is frustrating on my part. But China is round one and we're going to start from here. So without further ado, let's get into the following proceedings and let's go. So Shanghai being the first round of this career mode, it's going to be interesting to see the dynamics. Obviously from the preseason to this, there has been some changes in terms of, you know, the cars have been upgraded and stuff like that. So the field is more or less similar in a sense of the performance of the cars. Obviously some cars have upgraded, such as Ferraris and Mercedes have upgraded a little bit. Ourselves have upgraded a lot on the power unit over those two races, but more or less it's essentially the same. The Haas definitely looks like it's going to be the car to beat, especially over the first race. The first race I believe Verstappen won, and then the second race I believe Vettel won. But it's weird how it works, but nonetheless we're going to get straight into qualifying and see what we can do in this Red Bull. It looks so nice, so much better to drive this than the Toro Rosso, although the Toro Rosso this year does look really cool. But coming through the last corner, about to set our first time lap. Verstappen on top in Q1. We're going to go into P4 behind the Racing Point, but ahead of the Williams. So the Williams, definitely a weird one, but he's going to have to get onto that probably later on and see how they do. You can see Kubica is actually beating Russell at the moment, but we're going to fast forward a little bit. And before we do our second run, we're currently P13, which I'm not comfortable with. But obviously with track evolution, we can actually go a little bit fast. We get a purple sector 2, which is obviously in all the tight twisty parts, which is what we like. We move ourselves up to P2, just behind Weber, and that's going to be more than enough, I'd hope, to get us into Q2. And sure enough, it is. Albon, Giovinazzi, Stroll, Kubica, and Russell both out. Stroll definitely struggling, but nonetheless, coming into Q2, this was a very hair-raising moment. We almost went straight on, and we had braking issues all throughout pre-season, and sure enough, we're getting them here again. But coming across the line, we was only able to do one run because our first one was just absolutely abysmal. But me and Pierre make it through, losing Butler, Verstappen of all people, Norris and Leclerc. Verstappen definitely the shock driver to go out in that session. Whether he had a problem, we don't know. But yeah, for sure, it was definitely a shock to see that happen. We lock our front right tyre coming in to the end of the back straight. You can see we're currently P9. Nothing really fantastic about that, but we're definitely up again as the track gets a little bit cooler. You can see we've got a really poor exit on the curb, a little bit squirmy. We go P5, and that overall I'm happy with that. That wasn't too bad. Obviously we're going to look at the rest of the grid very shortly, give you a little bit of suspense to see where everyone else finished, but definitely going to be interesting to see how the car is shaking up. And with Verstappen so far down, as well as Leclerc, obviously the Ferrari isn't a dominant car as it has been in the previous season, but nonetheless, seeing a Ferrari that far back, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it goes. And seeing Verstappen come all the way through the field, that's definitely going to be interesting. There is Lucas Faber. Lewis Hamilton obviously won this race last season in 2019. And that man obviously qualified pretty well for this race, and seeing if he can actually maybe do a 2 in a row at the Grand Prix. But the man starting on pole was obviously Lewis Hamilton. Alongside him, we got Lucas Faber, who won a race last season in Sochi. Sebastian Vettel P3, and Max not doing what he should have done. Look, Magnussen P4, he could have gone a lot higher. Myself P5 of Kimi Räikkönen, Kvyat P7 in the Mercedes. That's really poor. Renault's lock out the back row for the top 10. Devon Butler ahead of Norris. Leclerc P14. Albon P16, Russell ahead of Kubica, so no surprise there. And then Lance Stroll, plumb last. So that kid's got a lot of work to do if he wants to stay even in the sport. I mean, at this point, they might as well just leave the sport and get a new team name. But Max Verstappen, one of the cars we're focusing on down in P12 on these soft compound tyres. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. Lewis Hamilton, the man on pole, he's got a massive job to do. He hasn't performed very well so far up until this point, but Charles Leclerc, obviously P14, he'll be another man to watch for sure as we get ready for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix. And you never know, anything is possible, but we're ready for the lights to go out here in Shanghai for round 1 of the season. We are underway, and that was a almighty start. We got literally a frame perfect start, like no, not even joking there. We've got Magnussen on the inside. We're going to have to give him plenty of room all the way around the outside of Magnussen. We've got Sebastian Vettel just ahead of us. I'm going to try and go all the way around the outside of him. We've got such good traction there. We lock up our front tyres. We try to avoid hitting Vettel. We're going to go side by side through this long, winding left hand. We managed to look like we've actually got the job done. Weber's actually got past Hamilton as well. So Hamilton not getting the best start. And we're actually going to fall in behind Hamilton. And that was an almighty start for ourselves. But moving on to lap 2, you can see we've got to defend a little bit here from Sebastian Vettel, and Magnussen just behind, and I believe behind him is Kimi Räikkönen as well. So all of them all coming at once. Kvyat and Gasly don't look like they're in on the party yet. We're going to go 2 abreast for 2 cars. We've lost 2 positions to Magnussen and Vettel down the back straight, so our engine power unit is letting us down a little bit. We've got a better exit there than Kimi Räikkönen, so we should be able to squeeze him out coming into the final corner, which we do indeed. And these two are fighting just ahead of us, so if we maybe pick up a place on Sebastian Vettel, we get into his slipstream as Magnussen just pulls ahead a little bit. You can see we've got Räikkönen again trying it down the start finish straight. He's going to go around the outside. That's not going to happen. And Sebastian Vettel is looking a little bit wide. We're going to try and go down the inside of Sebastian Vettel, and it's going to be super tight. We're on the grass partially there, just try and get past the Scarlet Red Ferrari, but it doesn't look like we managed to do that. But moving on, a little bit later on that lap, you can see we lock our front left tyre. Räikkönen goes straight through. He's not messing about. He's got a race-winning car, 100%. His teammates a little bit further up, battling with Hamilton. So that Alfa Romeo is definitely fast, and we can't even keep it on the track. Our tyres are going off so much. We put so much into them at the beginning of the race. Kvyat's now fancying a move, and we're going to have to be hard to try and fend him off. He's quite a bit farther down than he'd probably hope with his teammate up there in P2. But to go all the way down the outside, we almost fancy a move at Raikkonen. We both lock our tyres, and we're going to slot in just behind the Finn and hold off Kvyat. And our teammate Pierre Gasly is just behind us, but we're moving a little bit further on. You can see Max Verstappen starting to make some moves. Those Renaults and McLarens are just a bit behind ourselves, in fact. So it looks like Kvyat's dropping off the pace a little bit, and Verstappen fancies a move around the outside of Hulkenberg. This would be a phenomenal move if he can pull it off on the German driver. He's going to go down the inside of Kvyat as well. So that is a fantastic double overtake, and that could be overtake of the season if Max is very lucky. But we're still losing quite a bit of pace. We've got Gasly right on our gearbox, so we're just going to slow down and let him go. There's no point trying to fight him. Play the team game a little bit. We're really struggling with the brake temperatures as well as just the general grip, so we're gonna have to box this lap. But yeah, for sure, like it's definitely hard. Coming in out of the pits lane, you can see we've got Magnussen ahead of us, and Hulkenberg actually followed us in. So Hulkenberg might have been struggling a little bit, but we're on the harder compound of the lot. So obviously we're going to start maybe a little bit easier on this lap than we did with the rest of the lap. But you can see we're on board. We've got Danny Kvyat being passed by one of the Toro Rossos of Antonio Giovinazzi. So Kvyat maybe has a problem, and I hope he's got a problem and hope he's not that slow. But nonetheless, we've got a strategy update. Magnussen is on a 2-stop as well as Weber. So that's just being confirmed with the tyres they've gone on. So they've gone on to another set of I believe soft compound tyres, but we've closed up so much to Vettel as he's got such cold rubber, and if we're lucky we might be able to sneak past, almost nudging him through this little left hand kink, and go side by side coming into the end of sector 1. So if we're lucky we might even fancy a move, have a little look to the inside. It's going to be very tight between ourselves and Sebastian. We lock a tyre and he actually gives us pretty wide berth, which is quite handy. We don't want to collide with Sebastian at any point there, but we move up into P15, which is, at this point, it's very difficult to tell with everyone on split strategies and stuff like that, but Vettel fancies a move around the outside before we even get into turn 1, and Sebastian's already passed us, but we're going to fancy maybe a little look up the inside if possible. He gives us plenty of room. He left the door wide open, and obviously we're not going to not go for it, but he manages to get back ahead of us on the exit here. So we're right up to his gearbox. Everything's turned up to 11. Rich Mick's hot lap, and we're going to try and make a move down the inside again. If he gives us a door, he's going to go down. We're going to test the waters. He locks up. That's it. That's all we need to see to make our move down the inside of Sebastian Vettel, and we make that move back up into P14. But currently lap 10, Max Verstappen is currently leading the race on the medium compound tyre, I believe. So Charles Leclerc is not too far behind it, but Max Verstappen doing an amazing stint so far on his tyres. We've got Magnussen here battling with Hamilton and I believe Lance Stroll, so they're going 3 wide, and Hamilton on the fresher rubber, of course. He's on the harder compound and Magnussen on the softer one, which, like I said before, Magnussen is on the 2-stop strategy, so Hamilton getting the best out of his car, and Magnussen probably not doing that. But we're up to the back of our teammate, quote unquote, the sister team of Toro Rosso, and cruising up to the back. This should be a relatively easy overtake. Open the little letterbox down the back straight, simples. But we've got Sebastian Vettel not too far behind us as well, so we have to be careful. The overtake, slam dunk, and hopefully Giovinazzi doesn't block him, unfortunately, so we're going to have to defend to the inside of Sebastian Vettel and hope that it's just enough. Luckily it is. It looks like we maybe came onto us a little bit. We raised our hand in a bit of frustration there, but we've got Albon now, another Toro Rosso, so this should be probably a bit more easier. Hopefully he moves to the outside just so we can go down his inside, and sure enough, doesn't even attempt to block us, but at the same token doesn't look like he's made much of a move to get out of the way of Sebastian, so thank you very much, Alex. And we've got Lance Stroll here. We're going to go down the inside of Lance Stroll, but he closed the door on us, which is a bit frustrating. But with this line, we're going to cruise up to the back of his gearbox and sling it down his inside here. Very brave. We lock our front left tyre, but nonetheless, we're through and past Stroll. There's another car in between us. And Verstappen at this point has come out the pits, and he's not too far ahead of us, but he is on the hard compound tyre. So that does mean that, we're not doing too bad. But there we go. So it's going to be interesting to see how things go and stuff like that. But Magnussen is finally in the pits after that. He couldn't quite get past Hamilton, unfortunately for him, but I'm going to have to see how everything goes. And Verstappen, obviously, at this point will be almost on the back, and you can see on the minimap he's on the back of him. But we've got Lando Norris here going past, I believe that's Lucas Weber. So Lucas has finally pitted for the final time, and that was very close to collision there. But it looks like Verstappen has got past Hamilton for the lead of this race. So currently Max is comfortably in P1 on the freshest set of the compounds by about maybe 4 or 5 laps, give or take. So Hamilton's got some work to do, and it's going to be quite tasty seeing Max doing that. Lucas Faber's now set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, kind of as you would expect on the softer compound tyres of what everyone else is running at this point. But we've got a little bit of a gap to the Ferraris. Leclerc is now the car we're defending from, but it looks like Max Verstappen's got some defending to do. He's got Hamilton just blasting past him on the straight. That Mercedes, although it isn't great, it's pretty mighty. But up front we've got Gasly and Raikkonen having a little battle here. They're going side by side, and it looks like Lucas might fancy a move here on Pierre Gasly. Raikkonen locks up massively, and that yellow wall tyre looks like he's going to be doing pretty well. But Gasly does get a bit of traction on the exit, but it's just no point fighting it from a car that's clearly faster, and that's definitely going to pass. Moving on to lap 23, you can see it's getting a bit tasty. Leclerc locks up as we defend from him, and Lucas might split both of the Ferraris and go straight down the middle. He has indeed. So absolute balls of steel there from Lucas Weber, and he's now going to be on the back of us. But car number 77 has retired to an engine failure, and Hamilton fancies a move on Verstappen into turn 1. This is for the lead of the race, and these two are going at it still. It's a long right-hander, and Max doesn't look like he's going to give up too easily. He's still fighting for that inside line, so it'd be interesting to see who comes out on top in that. But we've got some massive defending to do. We've got Leclerc and Lucas Weber hunting us down right now. It's going to get very tight coming down here. Lucas has gone down to inside. Leclerc on the left. We're going to have to thread the eye of the needle, very similar to Lucas did. And Lucas jumps the curb just a little bit. Leclerc goes a bit wide. We managed to hold on to that P3. Looking at our tyres, we've got to be very careful on them. But we've got Sebastian Vettel now, the Ferrari behind us, who's going to fancy a move. He did this not about 10 laps ago, all the way around the outside. And is it going to work? We're going to have to fight him off very aggressively, but he's gone really wide there. Lucas might fancy a move if he's not careful, but we managed to hold off Sebastian at the moment. But we are running very low on our tyres. Verstappen now going for the overtake on Hamilton on what is the penultimate lap, so this could be very tasty towards the end of the race. We're on the penultimate lap ourselves, so we're going to have to see if we can defend from these guys. Sebastian Vettel is the main man. Look at that speed from Lucas Weber down the back straight. He's got such better speed than Sebastian Vettel does, and Lucas goes into the braking zone ahead of us. We're obviously going to take it in a nice and deep. Oh, very almost made contact there. Lucas turned out of it. So thank you very much to Lucas, but he's going to come back at us, and then we'll have to try and go for the undercut just to avoid him, and we make a little bit of contact as he parked it on the apex, and we had nowhere to go. I don't think we had damage, but I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, at that point if we did. It looks like it was pretty possible that we take a little bit of damage, but nonetheless, we are down the back straight on the final lap of the race. We got Lucas almost already past us before the DRS zone, which is absolutely insane. And look, our front left's gone. Verstappen's won the race. Our front left has just blown up down the back straight. It's going to be very difficult to get this car stopped as we go into the last corner. We've got Vettel just behind us. Lucas is gone. He's secured the podium. As we've got to try and hold on to this tyre as best we can. And it looks like it's gone. There we go. It's just completely off the rim. Coming through the last corner. Hopefully we can hold off this position of Vettel. Vettel's got DRS. Going to come across the line. And we're just going to hold on to P4, I believe. But look at the state of that front left. Jesus, we're super lucky that didn't go on the braking. If that went on the braking, we would have taken Weber out completely. Look at that. All of that tyre smoke generated from that blowout. That was crazy. We're going to have a look at this perspective here, and there it just goes halfway down the back straight before we even reach the DRS zone. It just went completely. So that was, again, super lucky that we didn't hit Lucas. And it's absolutely crazy. And I think around about here, it goes completely. It just loses any bit of pressure it has. There you go. It just completely goes, which is, it's just insane. But we definitely ran those tyres to the end of their life. And I can see why everyone else, well, a lot of people did the 2-stop. But nonetheless, Max Verstappen is the race winner from all the way down in 12th place. So 12th to 1st, not a bad day at the office there for Verstappen. Gunther Steiner obviously will be happy with that. The man they brought in to try and bring them out of the bottom half of the grid seems to be doing an absolute amazing job. Magnussen, not so much. Magnussen does seem to be struggling quite a bit, and it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of pull it together a little bit, if he can maybe get a few podiums or, dare I say, a race win. But at this point, it looks like everyone's catching up to Haas, especially Mercedes. Mercedes had a grid battle with Hamilton there. But nonetheless, Weber definitely secured an amazing P3. Hamilton P2 and P1 for that man, the Dutchman Max Verstappen. It was an amazing race. It was such good fun. And then to have obviously the tyre go at that point, it was just mental. It was absolutely insane. But again, I'm super excited for this series. It's all coming together so far. If every race is like this, then I'm all for it. Like, obviously there's a lot of work goes into this video and this series before we even started recording. But it is what it is. Max Verstappen there, currently P1. Gasly kind of fell off a little bit. He kind of just disappeared. I didn't really do much there. But both Ferraris getting a good haul of points. There we go. Kvyat eventually just evaporated. Kvyat did nothing. But that's going to be it for round 1. Round 2 obviously being Baku, which, if you remember, last season wasn't exactly a great race for ourselves. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do round there. I don't know why I picked George Russell as my rival, to be honest with you. I just picked a random driver. So apologies for that. But nonetheless, if you have enjoyed the video, guys, please do slap a like on it. It helps out massively. And yeah, I'll see you guys in Baku. Until then, guys, take care. Bye-bye.